Hey there. I know it's weird that I'm here on a Monday, but I'm here on a Monday because I released what I'm about to share with you last week to the podcast newsroom. And it occurred to me that I really needed to share it with you too, because there is going to be a brand new way to work with me in Q4 in October specifically. And those are booking now. And I wanted you to have an opportunity, if this felt like a fit for you, to get yours booked. Especially if you wanted to use what I'm going to talk about to plan Q4 content, we need to be doing it at the beginning of October. Let's get right on it. So, welcome to the Podcast Strategy Intensive. That's what we're going to run through today. I'm going to talk through what it is, how to sign up. If you have questions as you go through this, remember, go to uncommonlymore.com/intensive. You can also book a quick call there with me and we can talk through any questions you have, any concerns that you have. We can chat through them together and find the right solution for you, even if it's not the Podcast Strategy Intensive, which is cool. Let's get into it. Welcome to Uncommonly More with Stacey Harris. I am Stacey. I'm the host of this show and the CEO of podcast production agency Uncommonly More. My team and I work with podcasters just like you to shift shows from frustrating time sucks to productive members of sales teams with professional, strategic podcast production. You know what? I think that's enough. Let's get into the show and we'll talk more there. I'm jumping in here mid-month with something a little different. This is an update in regards to Uncommonly More instead of just podcasting in general, but I think this will be of interest to you because I have created another way to work with me. See, once a quarter, we sit down with our production clients and we build out their next quarter strategy and we map out their episodes. And some of those clients use those as times where we sort of audit things, or they'll ask for how I'm making decisions and we'll process choices together around their podcast and how they're using it as a sales asset and the ways they're driving traffic to their podcast and all of those things. And I wanted to create a way to do that with clients who aren't ready or aren't interested in a full production contract. Maybe you have an audio engineer in your life who is handling all of your editing. Maybe you have an incredible VA on your team who is handling the graphics and the audiograms and the show notes, and everything there is really working as it does now, but you don't have the strategic support to sit down and really build episodes that are sales assets. Episodes that you can put in email sequences, that you can be sharing on social, that your referrals can be sending to people, that you can be sending people when they say, hey, I'm super cold, but I'd like to learn more about XYZ thing. You can introduce them to what you do and how you work and the ways in which they can see results. You can walk them through the process of identifying their problem and identifying whether or not you are the solution to that problem, big or small. That's what we do in those quarterly strategic calls. And that's what we're doing in the brand new Podcast Strategy Intensive. These are 2-hour calls where you and I will sit down together and we'll kick it off by going through a little audit. We'll go through your cover art and your show notes formats and your descriptions and your branding elements. And we will look and make sure that you have cohesion, nothing needs to change, everything is speaking to who you are selling to and what you are selling them right now. Even how you are selling them is represented in the ways it needs to be in those places. So we'll kick it off by looking at sort of a high level view of your show. And then we're going to get into the nitty gritty of your next 12 weeks. When you book the actual call day with me, we will have a couple questions in that form around a couple of episode assets that I want you to send me that I'll listen to before we meet. But also I'm going to ask some questions about what you're selling and who you're selling it to. Those are the things you're going to need to come ready to the call with. You're going to need to know that. What are you selling? Who are you selling it to and how are you selling it? Because we're going to use that as our destination. And we're going to sort of backtrack GPS style. What do they need to know to make the decision? And that's what we'll build content around. In addition to just sort of outlining what those 12 episodes should be in that quarter, we're also going to actually title and optimize that title, as well as outline those episodes. So literally all of your prep work is done when you come off of this call. speaking of when you come off of this call, what's the deliverable? What's actually on the other side of it? I'm so glad you asked. On the other side of it, you'll get a full recording of the 2-hour call. You'll also receive, and this is the thing I'm really excited about, built into the project management system of your choice. Maybe that's a Google Doc. Cool. You're going to get a 3-month content dashboard built out. So you can see exactly what needs to be created, exactly what tasks that need to be done to get those episodes out and marketed. Yeah. You'll also have on there a complete content calendar, including your calls to action for each episode. Where are we driving them? Is it to your email list? Is it to your sales page? Is it to an early bird offer? Is it to a testimonials page? Whatever the thing is that we need to be driving them to in those episodes. You'll also get a sort of written breakdown, kind of a checklist based on the audit we do together, as well as the audit of the 2 episodes I'm going to listen to of your show. Those are going to be your most recent episode, and then whatever you consider to be currently your best sales asset. What episode are you like, I really nailed it in that episode? Those are the ones I want you to send me. So that'll be your deliverable after we're done. You'll get that the afternoon of our call. Well, it might be evening, depending on your time zone. 45 days later, you and I will sit down for a 45-minute check-in call to check in on your implementation. So I'm not going to just hand this to you and be like, okay, best of luck. No, we're going to touch base in that middle of that quarter and say, cool, where are we now? What's working? What's feeling like a heavy lift? Where do we need to make some changes? Where are we with implementation? Where are there maybe holes in your implementation? Where does having the strategy and having all of that clarity and all of that weight lifted and sort of distraction lifted of just trying to keep up with what am I going to talk about? When we remove that, it's a lot easier to see where we might need some support in implementation. And I can help you identify what those holes are and identify your best solution for those holes. It might be us, it might not be, but I can help you make that decision. That's how we're going to be using these podcast strategy intensives. I expect we'll probably see people doing these 2 to 4 times a year, but you can absolutely do this once, get a feel for what this process is, and then replicate it on your own. I want you to think of this session as a way for you to learn how we make the decisions we make with our clients so you're able to implement this on your own. I will say it's incredibly helpful having someone from outside the jar help you read the label. It's incredibly helpful to find somebody from outside of your business to ask you questions, because there are questions your ideal clients have that you're so in the solution of that you don't see. And so this is a great way to take advantage of our time together, because I'm going to be able to ask you the questions your prospective buyers are going to be asking that you might miss because we're in it. We know it inside and out. It's easy for us to miss. These are open now. However, they're going to be open on a really limited basis. I will be only opening these once a quarter. So for right now, you can book starting in October. I will only have them available for October as we wrap up the year. The next time these will be available will probably be in January or February of next year. I haven't decided which. I promise I will let you know when I have. It will probably be November when I make that decision. But for this year, if you want to do this, you want to start thinking ahead to Q1, or if maybe you're still in the weeds and you're like, I got to figure out Q4, we can kick off Q4 with this plan and get you through that end of the year holiday kind of crush and help you hit some of those goals maybe you haven't hit this year with your podcast. All right. Head over to uncommonlymore.com/intensive to learn more, and you can go ahead and book your call right there. If you have questions, if you have something you need support on, something you need help figuring out, maybe you need a payment plan and you want to know if those are available, there is a spot to book a 15-minute, what I'm calling a gut check call with me. You know me, we're here together. But if you're not sure what this is and you have a couple questions, let's hop in a call for 15 minutes and figure it out for you. And there's also a spot where you can just drop an email. So if you've got just a quick question and you want just a quick answer, drop it in the email and our team can answer that. Easy peasy. I'm so excited to sit down with podcasters. I already have a couple booked, but I wanted to open this up to everyone. And so head over to uncommonlymore.com/intensive, click the link in the show description, and let's talk more about getting your podcast strategy intensive booked. If you made it to this point of the show and you still happen to be listening, which statistically is unlikely, I want to say thank you for listening. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I want to hear from you. So reach out on social or via email and let me know what actions you're going to take from today's episode, because honestly, that's why we produce this show. That's why I record this show. That's why my team does all the work to release this show, is so that we can help you. We can help make a difference in your show and consequently in your business. If you haven't left a review for the show, head over to ratethispod.com/more. It's an easy way to show some love to the show and also help us reach more podcasters who are looking for the same kind of support you were looking for. If you have any suggestions or ideas or thoughts you would like me to address on the show, be sure to reach out. Again, like I say a lot, this is the start of the conversation, and I can't wait to hear what you have to say.